What's good, everybody? It's your two-tone blue boy, Big Kev here. Big Kev's World is coming back at you with another video. I know that I haven't posted anything in a while. It's been a it's been a roller coaster ride the last couple weeks of 2022. Not only have I had to deal with the flu the beginning of December and then working my ass off, which worked a lot of hours these last couple of weeks. And then we had that big old snowstorm or ice storm, whatever you want to call it. And then we had the rolling blackouts, family not getting here in time, celebrating Christmas after Christmas. It's just been one cluster fuck after another. And so normally when I do a Titans video, I usually have the whole video who run it, and usually have a nice little cool little intro and everything like that. But this team doesn't deserve a really cool intro right now. To be honest with you, I'm embarrassed by them, and and you're probably wondering, wow, hey Kev, teams lose, people lose, and you'd be right. Teams do lose. But my biggest gripe with this team is beginning of the season, we after we lost to Cincinnati in the playoffs, my biggest gripe about this team has been, and we can say what we want to say about this, but my biggest gripe with this team is they've always fought hard. They've always been that team that fought hard. We had the injuries last year. Even with those injuries last year and having so many injuries, so many players hurt, Derrick Henry gone for the majority of the season, we still went and was able to become the number one seed in the AFC last year. And, with Titan fans now, when you talk about it, some people are like, well, Kev, they got injuries now. We've lost, Taylor Lewan for the season again. We've Nate Davis has been down. Ben Jones has been down. That's partial to what's going on with that offensive line. Then you have, David Long, our middle linebacker, who's a really, who plays with a lot of heart, fast. And, Zach Cunningham's been in and out of the injury booth. We've had Harold Landry out for the entire season, even before the season started, who was our best pass rusher. Jeffrey Simmons is dealing with an ankle injury. Then you have Ryan Tannehill, Tanny. He's dealing with an ankle injury, and then he came back, and then he re-injured it again in the game against the Chargers. So now we're dealing with a lot of doubt. When I see this team get on the field, I don't see the same team that went 7-3, and then they went to Philadelphia. They got their ass kicked. I see this team now. I don't see that same confidence, that same swagger. The Titans were a team that would pound you in the ground. They'll bully you, steal your lunch money, do all this stuff. I don't see that same intensity that I used to see from this team. I don't see it at all anymore. What I see is a group of guys who just act like they don't want to be there. They're making mistakes. Derrick Henry is not a guy who usually fumbles, but for some reason he's been fumbling, which is causing some mistakes down the field. When the Titans defense does get some takeaways, the offense doesn't know how to go down there and put points on the board. I'm not really saying that the Titans defense is the problem. I mean, but they've had some. If there was any weakness in that Titans defense, it's the secondary. It's completely the secondary, and the secondary is the one that's the biggest issue right now with this team. Um, when the former general manager John Robinson decided to draft Caleb Farley, I wasn't on board with that pick in the first place. And when he drafted him, with all those back injuries he's had in Virginia Tech, you would think, okay, well, maybe he might get into this. His first year of the season, he ended up tearing his ACL. And, Vrabel really didn't play him much this year because I think Vrabel doesn't see any potential in him. And so we've had Christian Fulton that's been hurt. Caleb Farley's not fit into this team. So we do got some holes in that secondary that definitely needs to be addressed. Bud Dupree. Ever since Bud Dupree has come to the Titans, I know he did well with Pittsburgh, but that's because he had TJ Watt on the other side. Even with Harold Landry last year, Bud Dupree was dealing with injuries. He was on the injury bug. He's on the injury bug this year. He's shown some flashes of the money that you pay him. But let's be honest. Bud Dupree has been a bust ever since he signed that contract here. I mean, we signed him for a pretty good hefty sums of money. And some people want to know, why did we fire our general manager halfway through the season after the Eagles game? After us being 7-4. Some of it has to do with the A.J. Brown situation. Some has to do with the A.J. Brown situation. When I found out some more information about that, like at first I was all for the Titans doing what they had to do. I was pissed at A.J. But after those reports came out, AJ wanted to stay. AJ wanted to be here. He was the best receiver we've ever had. I guess you can put Derek Mason next to that in that equation. But no, he was the best receiver that we've ever had. And he was dealing with injuries last year. Look what he's doing for Philadelphia. Look at the Eagles now. Jalen Hurts wasn't. I mean, yeah, he got them to the playoffs last year, but look at the chemistry with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown makes that team better, makes Jalen Hurts better. And now, yeah, he did wanted a little bit more money after the contract we gave him. And I think John Robinson just threw his hands up and was like, nope, we'll just go and replace you in the draft. You can't replace a player like A.J. Brown in the draft like that. Treylon Burks has shown flashes of being a first-round pick. I think Burks would do fine going forward. Burks has to put it in his head and keep all that nonsense out. You're not going to be A.J. Brown. You got to be Treylon Burks. As long as he can do that, he'll be fine in the future. A.J. Brown was a whole different level guy. Him and DK Metcalf were teammates in Ole Miss. Big, strong, physical receiver. A.J. Brown fit the mold of what we do here. He knew how to block downfield. He knew how to hit corners in the mouth, safeties in the mouth. It was the bloodline. It was the heart and soul of what this team does. And it's, yeah, that was one of the main reasons. Another reason is some of the boneheaded decisions that John Robinson has made as general manager, trying to sign Vic Beasley for a 1-year deal, and Vic Beasley didn't even stay like majority of the time or half the time. You know, he could have re-signed Giovanni. He could have re-signed Clowney. He didn't do that. We could have kept Jack Conklin, the right tackle. Didn't do that. We could have kept Logan Ryan, who was one of our best corners at the time. Couldn't do that either. But he did make some good decisions. He brought in Harold Landry. He brought in Derrick Henry from the draft. So there were some good things that John Robinson did do for this team, but there was a lot of mistakes with this team. And now what you're seeing now is we're paying the price for those mistakes. Now, I talked to a couple of Titan buddies at work, and they wanted me to talk about this subject, so I'm going to. What's my feelings on the offensive coordinator, Todd Downing? Do I think he needs to go? Do I think what is it? Todd Downing was our offensive coordinator last year. We put up more numbers last year during these injuries than we did this year. A lot of it is because we also had better players. Do I think Todd Downing's play calls work for this team? Absolutely not. And do I think this guy needs to go? Absolutely. And, you know, when you are in a when you're in a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 5 situation, and you do not have your best player on the field, Derrick Henry, and you don't have your best player on the field for this situation, you decide to go for a pass, knowing that offensive line is suspect at best, you're bound to either A, have one of the quarterbacks, either Malik or Ryan, throw an interception, or they're going to be thrown to the ground. And 9 times out of 10, they're thrown to the ground. Sack, done. Plays over, Titans got a punt. It's simple. It's simple economics. You know what I'm saying? Like you go into these situations and you look at this team and you go, and I know that we all think that we can do better, play calls better, and you're probably right. But I think if we had the same players on this team from last year, we wouldn't really be talking that much about Downing. Some of us didn't like Downing last year. The only reason why Downing's plays worked last year because we had the talent, or the team was talented enough to do what it needed to do. Now, this team is not talented enough to do that. And then you also look at the situation, too. You know, we had one of the best left guards, Roger Stafford. We let him go. And then we put him with Aaron Brewer. Aaron Brewer, God bless him. His size, he is not a guard. You know, it's crazy when Derrick Henry is bigger than that guy. Looks bigger than that guy, at least. And don't even get me started with them signing Dennis Daly. You're letting Dennis Daly start after Taylor Lewan's ACL injury. You had other people you could have put in that position, but they kept playing Dennis Daly. And that's a Mike Vrabel fault. I love Mike Vrabel. I think he's the best coach we've ever had. I feel like he works for this team. His personality is great for this team. He was the coach of the year last year. I feel like he's the best thing that's happened to this team. However, there is some boneheaded, stubborn things about Mike Vrabel, and I think it comes from New England because we all see it with Belichick. It's the same situation with Vrabel. He's hard-headed. He doesn't want to change anything, and he pretty much flat out said that I'm not making any changes until the season's over. So all of us that are wishing for Todd Downing to be fired, Guess you're going to have to wait until the season's over. And that season being over could be next week in that game in Jacksonville for the division. Could you ever? I never in a million years thought the Titans would be 7-8 right now. Second in the division to Jacksonville. With the game week 7, with the next week's game, decides the AFC South and who gets that fourth spot in the playoffs. Jacksonville is playing on all cylinders. They have a former Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson. He's got them boys playing, and Jacksonville is rising up, which I expected them to rise up. I didn't think they would rise up this soon, but I knew with Doug Peterson as their coach, they would be causing us some fits, and I didn't think it would be this because right before the season, all these experts and all the people like on TikTok and Facebook, like, the Colts are going to win the AFC South. The Colts are going to win the AFC South. Colts didn't win the AFC South. And it's embarrassing when your team, who's had Jacksonville's number for years, loses to Jacksonville, and then you are at home against the worst team in the league, the Houston Texans, and you fumble the ball, you do these things, you let Houston stay in the game, and Houston got you. If the Titans would have won that game last Sunday against Houston, we wouldn't even be talking about this situation. And you can see it on a guy like Kevin Byard's face. Like, they hate it. But it's a situation where now you have to look at the offseason. You got to look at the offseason now. Now you got to be like, okay. So they brought in Austin Hooper as a tight end, which I like Austin. I like the kid that we drafted as a tight end this year. I think he's going to be a huge playmaker in that offense going forward. I think Burks is going to be a huge playmaker going forward. The signing of Robert Woods. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Robert Woods as a man, as a player, but when you come back from an ACL, he really hasn't done anything here for Tennessee. And once again, J-Rob signed him to a big contract. And here we go. Now, the offensive line has got to do a makeover. I love Ben Jones. Ben Jones has been the heart and soul of that offensive line. But injuries are getting up there. His age is getting up there. Nate Davis has been solid at right guard. No problem there whatsoever. But then you expect the rookie right tackle to come in and do all the things that he was supposed to do. And there were some times where St. Pierre has done some good things, and he's also made mistakes as a rookie. So I'm not going to hawk on him too much. Taylor Lewan. I love his show, Bustin' with the Boys, with him and Will Compton. I love it. I love how outspoken he is. I love how much dedication, how much heart and soul he's had for this team, because he was here for some of our worst moments and some of the worst records we've ever had. Taylor Lewan has stayed the course, no problem whatsoever. But 2 out of the last 4 years, he's missed due to a torn ACL. The man is due to make $14 million in the offseason. And with 2 ACL surgeries, he can't stay healthy on the field. You have to ask yourself, do you risk keeping him? Maybe you could try to restructure his deal or something like that. I don't know. But do you risk keeping Taylor Lewan? Or do you use that money, cut him, and then you use that money to refuel and revamp your offensive line? That's a question that the Titans have to ask themselves. We definitely have to re-sign Jeffrey Simmons because he's one of the best defensive ends in the National Football League, and we definitely need to keep him here. That's the problem with this team. When this team gets really good, they don't always keep their core players. And now we're looking at Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is going to make a lot of money guaranteed this coming season, this offseason. They drafted Malik Willis. People thought Malik Willis was going to be the guy that comes in and takes over for Tannehill. Malik Willis has been put in it's not Malik's fault all the way. You put him behind. You can put any quarterback. I don't care who it is. You could put Patrick Mahomes. You could put Aaron Rodgers. You could put Tom Brady. Whoever you want on there. Hey, you could put Joe Burrow. You could put Josh Allen behind that crappy ass offensive line that we got, and none of them would have that success that we've had. None of them would. So then you put a rookie quarterback in Malik Willis in a couple of games, in a couple of situations where he has had to run for his life. You know, he's made terrible decisions down the field because of these. He's raw. He's got raw talent. He's not the guy that I wouldn't get the keys to the kingdom yet to him. But the Titans do need to do something about this thing with Ryan Tannehill because Tannehill is going to cost them some money. Unless they restructure his deal, the Titans do need to look for the future as far as who's going to be the captain and who's going to be the person of that team. Now, when Derrick Henry came back from that injury, a lot of people were saying that he was going to be, because he's getting up there, and they say when running backs get up there in age, they don't last very long in this league. Derrick Henry takes very good care of himself. I don't know if some of y'all seen his workout videos in the offseason, but he is a man who is 6'3", 245 plus pounds, can run a 4.1 or a 2. That's scary. And he's been running like that in high school. He ran like that when he played in Alabama, and he's been doing it since he's been here. Now, the man's got 1,400 yards this season. 1,400 yards this season with an offensive line that sucks. Imagine if that offensive line was like it was 2 or 3 years ago. Derrick Henry would be putting up 2,000-yard seasons easily. So, but that should tell you right there, when some of these teams like, hey, they stacked the deck, they stopped Derrick Henry. Did you really stop him? Or was that offensive line suspect and you stopped him that way? You always have to think about that situation because Derrick Henry has came to play. Yes, he's made some couple of mistakes here in the last 2 or 3 weeks, fumbling and giving these other teams chances to get back down the field and score, which is what they did. But besides that, the man's come to play this season. I've had no problems with Derrick Henry this season at all. And, you know, we had some stupid goof on here on YouTube, and I'm gonna address him in another video, who's come out there and said that Derrick Henry will probably want to get traded. Derrick Henry's pretty much made it known that he ain't going anywhere right now. I mean, he's two-tone blue right now. He's not going anywhere. But if they keep going down this road, he'd have to ask himself, would he want to stay? I mean, I've seen some Titan fans on there. They will sit there and these are the Titan fans, not the ones who. I'm not talking about the ones that complain about the team because we all do, and it happens in any sport, any team, any fan base. We complain about something. That's normal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ones who will say this garbage I'm about to say. Oh man, yeah, Tennessee, the Titans, yeah, they used to have such a great team back then when they had Eddie George and Steve McNair. They were so good, and then they just started crapping up, and then the Titans start winning again, and then they're like, "Oh, here I am at training camp. I'm getting my autograph signed, and I'm getting all this stuff done." And then the Titans lose, and the Titans start losing, and they go, "Well, just typical Titans for you. Typical Titans. Typical Titans." Those kind of people make me sick because those are the ones who are bandwagon fans. Let's jump on the bandwagon when the Titans are doing well, but then when the Titans are doing bad, let's hitch off that wagon and then start doing what we do. If you're a true fan to your team, no matter if your team is winning, no matter if your team is losing, you are going to stay the course with that team no matter what. You don't jump ship. This isn't like wrestling and back in the Attitude Era where you could jump ship to WCW or WWE and whatever the else. You can't do that. I mean, I guess it's your God-given right. I guess you can, but it's a cardinal rule of being a sports fan. You can't just be like, "Oh, well, the Titans suck. I'm going to go ahead and jump on, oh, no, Cincinnati Bengals bandwagon." Because then you would be if I did that, I would want to throw up, hit myself a bunch of times in the head because I would be a complete huge hypocrite if I did that. And that's not who I am. And that's not something I would do. The Titans are going through some little growing pains right now. Yes, there is something that needs to be done with that training staff here in Tennessee as well. That is one thing that is more suspect than anything. What is going on with that training staff? Because these are players who are getting injured last year, who are getting injured this year, and who have been injured with the same injury this year 2 or 3 different times. And I'm sitting there thinking, what's going on there? And then you see a guy like A.J. Brown this season playing for Philly, and he's played all the games so far with no problems whatsoever. It makes you wonder what is going on. So if I'm Amy Adams Strunk and I'm getting the new GM in this offseason, you need to look into not only that offensive line, getting rid of Todd Downing, revamping maybe even the secondary, getting some weapons in there. But also look at what the training staff is doing. And it's bad. I mean, that many injuries in so little time is bad. And now the Titans tonight, they played a game against the Dallas Cowboys. In a meaningless game where now Mike Vrabel is deciding to let 8 players, he's put the 8 players on doubtful. Jeffrey Simmons, Derrick Henry, a couple big key players are not going to be playing this game because they're going to rest their players going into Jacksonville for that division thing. Now, there's some fans who are for it, and there's some fans who are against it. I get it, but I really want to be Dallas. And it's, that's the thing right there. It's like the Titans have always had a really good record against the NFC East. This year, we haven't. And this year has been something that I just don't understand. And maybe as a fan, I probably will never understand. But Of course, you want all your big playmakers all healthy against Jacksonville because it's going to be all hands on deck for that division rival, for that division title, which the Titans have held the last 2 or 3 years, a 4 seed in the playoffs to host the game. Now, I know the Titans want to get back to that playoffs. Jacksonville came in Nashville, spanked you in the mouth. Now we're going into Jacksonville. I mean, I get what they're doing, and I get what Vrabel's trying to do, and he's trying to rest his boys to get them prepared for Jacksonville because that's the biggest one. But from what I'm hearing is that even if the Titans played all their guys tonight and we beat that, and if we went to tonight, if we beat Dallas, it wouldn't matter anyways because then the division would still have to go through the whole thing with Jacksonville next week. So even if the Titans did win this game, now if they would have beaten Houston, the Titans probably would have played their starters tonight and we would have went there, we would have fought hard and played Dallas. But because we lost to Houston, now the game with Jacksonville is the big one. And so now we have to go through that situation where Cowboys. And I know the Cowboys fan base, they're going to run their mouths regardless about it because that's what they do. A win's a win in their eyes because they're still trying to chase Philly. They're 11-4. They're going to go to the playoffs regardless. Whether they won this game or lost this game against the Titans wouldn't have mattered to them. But you know what? It's one of those situations where the Titans put themselves in this situation. There's no one to blame. No one to blame at all. Because now I do feel bad for Dennis Daly, who came in as a backup for Taylor Lewan. I mean, I know he sucked when he played for Carolina last year and got off. He's got off. Well, I know he's got to hear the media coverage. I know he's got to hear us fans. I know he's got to hear that. And that could affect your game too. Because when you hear all these negativity, all this bullshit being thrown at you, man, you can hear you be hearing all that stuff, and it's gonna affect the way you prepare for the game. But for me, I would have looked at it as a motivational thing. Let me change my game, let me step it up here. And there's been some plays where Dennis Daly has done that, but there's a lot more, probably 95%, where he's just let people run right by him. Boom, Tannehill's gotten hit. Boom, Malik Willis has gotten hit, or they're running for their lives, and it's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Get it fixed. We have to get this fixed. And until that happens, even if I'm going to be realistic here. Even if we go into this game in Jacksonville next week and we beat Jacksonville, we win the division, we get that fourth pick, 4th seed in the playoffs, we host a game. Who's to say we're going to win the playoff game? Because every time we host a game in the playoffs, we don't win. We didn't with Cincinnati. We didn't with Baltimore twice. Who's to say? I'd rather us be the Road Warriors. And 2019 was a glorious year because we were a wild card team. We beat New England, sent Brady packing, went into Baltimore. Lamar Jackson was the MVP. They thought Baltimore was going to kill us. We went in there. Then we went in there in Arrowhead in the AFC Championship game against a really good Kansas City Chiefs team. So it's one of those things, man. We got to get through these humps. We got to get through these hurdles. And I'll watch the game tonight, and I'll give my opinion on it later or something. But I didn't do any hate weeks against the Cowboys fans because it's meaningless. Um, after hearing what Vrabel's going to do and stuff, it's kind of meaningless. Why run your mouth? Why try to do that if you knew your team's going to lose anyways? And I suspect Dallas to beat them tonight. I mean, I did it in the picks for the Stephen Rose Tournament of Champions. So I mean, it is what it is. But let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. I know not many people have been watching on YouTube lately. I don't know if it's a algorithm issue with YouTube or what's going on with it. But post your comments down below, everybody. I'm going to post this on a couple of Titans groups that I'm a part of on Facebook. We got some cool, exciting things coming up here. We got another interview inside the square circle coming up. I'm going to have two good buddies of mine, Tracy West and Bridget. Apparently, me and Mel were interviewed on her horror podcast, so we're bringing them here. They did a movie that's on Tubi. They've done some cool. They've done some acting around. They've been on the Tracy was on the show of Nashville. They also done some haunted attraction work. It's going to be exciting having them on the show. Also, we're going to have we're going to do some more nerd talks. We're going to do a lot more cool, exciting little things that I'm looking forward to. Like I said, sorry if I haven't posted much. I know I was doing some of my rap stuff. I will be continuing that. It's been a really hard time, since I lost my father 2 months ago. And it's me trying to catch up and me trying to mentally catch back up. So, we're going to start doing more TikTok videos. I've already got a bunch that I just haven't posted on here, but I will, all that kind of stuff. So we'll get some more stuff on here soon. I'm looking to collaborate more with some other people. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope your teams are doing well this season. And hope everyone had a great Christmas and Happy New Year's coming up. And I'm out.